Hey, you there! Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Roxas map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the Northwest, and ending with Team 2 in the Southeast. Starting off with Team 1's northern player, we have in Stitch Blue, it is Abandoned. He's playing as a UEF. He is a 12/04 rated. Continuing on southward in Royal Blue, it is Forkotia. He is a Seraphim. He is a 2004 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 1. And to his east in Amethyst Purple, it is Boom King. He's playing as a Seraphim. He is a 15/04 rated. And I just noted that every player on Team 1, currently their ratings are ending in 4. So coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. So for Team 1 side of the map, in terms of faction makeup, they have 2 Seraphim in the south and 1 UEF in the north, which means no Cybern Tech and no Aeon Tech for Team 1. Starting up with Team 2 southern player, we have in Ruby Red, it is Gava Gava, playing as an Aeon as a 12/45 rated. To his north in Chevy Crimson, it is another Aeon, it is Drimmer. He is a 21/74 rated, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall. And to his east, we have in Orange Color Orange, it is Double Dealer playing as a Cybern, the one and only of the game. He is a 13/56 rated. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have again the Cybern in the northeast with 2 Aeons in the middle, which means for Team 2 side of the map, they have what Team 1 lacks, and vice versa. They have 2 Aeons and a Cybern, and lack UEF and Seraphim Tech. Team 1 has 2 Seraphim and 1 UEF, and lack Aeon and Cybern. So all the factions are represented in the game. They're just split down the middle between the teams. Taking a look at the mechs and reclaim count. Currently looking at the reclaim count first, we see 11,000 mass in reclaim, which makes it just shy of 2,000 mass per player. I'd say about maybe 1,800, maybe roughly, if I can do math in my head pretty quick. Yeah, a little bit less than that, maybe. A decent amount to grab on the map. I even see 1,600 set right there, 1,500 there. There's nothing in the back line to grab. The main bases for these players are kind of towards the middle-ish of the land masses. There's a hefty amount of mexes in front of them and behind them. There's 4 Trimex positions on the front line. Actually, well, maybe 5 if we count that one. We have this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And then in the back line, we have 5 there, 5 there. So that's 5-star mechs, 5-star mechs. And, I mean, you can maybe include this one to a 6-star mechs, kind of. But it's just, the further out you go, it's more like, well, you can include that one and that one. And we'll just say 5-star mechs positions in the back with a splattering of one-offs. And nothing down the middle. So essentially, it's going to be Team 1 has the north, and Team 2 has the south, and that's it. We'll see what our players end up doing with that information, if they decide to stay on their sides of the map or not. I will note that there are 2 pawns in this map. There's the southwest and the northeast. We have players for both teams on essentially closer to the opposite side. So we have these 2 players for Team 2 closer to this pond, and these players on the southern side for Team 1 closer to this pond. So I kind of see a possible Team 1 will grab the southwest, Team 2 will grab the northeast kind of scenario. So there won't be probably a lot of naval engagements, which is sad for me. But for those that don't like Navy, there is that. Team 1 has UEF and Seraphim Tech, which means they have access to cruiser missiles, which can be very, very annoying to deal with. I mean, Team 2 does have the best TMD in the game, being the... Oh, shoot, what's it called? I lost my train of thought for a second. What's it called? Oh, no, Volcano. There it is. I got there. I got it. Didn't forget too long. So they do have that, and they do have the Cybern Tech, so they have the Zappers as well, which I think are the second best in my opinion. So they have all that at their disposal. They also do have Aeon Tech, which means they could go Aeon in the water for those missile ships. They give them a little bit more range. Yes, maybe that will work. We will see what our players end up doing. Taking a look at where our players are headed off to in this game, we have 1 player for Team 2 just going full send it into the water, going for a naval facility. We have in the middle, possible first comm-on-comm engagement, we have Boom King and Drimmer in the middle, and then we have Gava Gava in the south. To the north, we have Team 1's Abandoned, splitting his attention between dealing with a nasty little flare from Team 2 and spreading out his engineers on the front and back end. So he's sitting in his base for now. He might move into here. Maybe. Just depends on what Team 2's Eastern Front does. Maybe they'll send something that way. Maybe they won't. At a bare minimum, I can definitely see Team 1 and Team 2 kind of just building, you know, just walls of PD and shields and whatnot, kind of just saying, hey, come at us. Just come on our side of the map so we get the reclaim. So we'll see what they end up doing. Or we could just see an invasion in the southeast by Team 1 and then an invasion in the northeast by Team 2. And kind of this, you know, counterclockwise, you know, yin-yang symbol kind of starting to form. So there's a lot of options for our players. Again, it's only 3v3. There's only 6 players on the game. So APM is going to be very taxed. And once somebody dies, it's not going to be good depending on the situation that players find themselves in at that time. Early on, it's a little bit... It's better and it's not better. In this game, it's actually probably worse. The later on a kill happens, the better, because the bases are usually built up. All the eco goes to somebody else. They can easily build something and try to, you know, build back up or even just completely steamroll the opponents, depending on, again, the eco situation. We have the first upgrade of the game going for Gava Gava in the south. Still no combi-com action. Maybe a tiny bit. Yeah, looks like maybe a first com-on-com action. Looks like it's occurred between these two players. I missed it while I was talking about all of the tactics and strategy and whatnot that could happen in the game. I know it works. I'd say 95% of the line of matches don't have desync, so I don't know who wins. All I know is that the match works at the end of the day. We do see, again, naval buildup in the northeast and the southwest by both the teams that I thought they would be doing it. And no contest from the opposite. So Team 2 is going to claim the northeast. Team 1's going to claim the southwest with no issue. And again, that will give Team 1 the advantage for now, because once they get to T2, which they've already started at 7 minutes, they can easily lock down the southwest. We do see more combi-com action, so if it wasn't apparent earlier, it definitely is now. T1 PD is going to be denied by Boom King. He's going to blow up the Team 1 PD with that nice little overcharge, and Drimmer will build that wall section. Don't know if it'll be that effective because it's just a little square. It builds another Team 1 PD, at least tries to. We'll see if that ends up working for him. We do see engines moving into reclaim, and we see movement out from the northeast a little bit. Couple of mech marines and some strikers. T1 PD being built by Team 2, and that's actually a good position. It should cover the entire approach, and it does. It doesn't cover the hover, but Team 1 doesn't have hover at this stage. And except for Zooies, I guess they do have that, but I'd rather have Aurora than Zooies, but then, you know, it's just the name of the game in that regard. It's, you know, Zooies are good for some things, Aurora are good for some things. They're not all good at everything. That's why I love this game, because there's always kind of a rock, paper, scissors, another item in that list to make it a square instead of a triangle, because there's 4 factions instead of 3. Whatever that other item would be, let me know. I don't know what else it could be. Plane? No, that wouldn't work. That's... No. Boat? No. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that 4th item would be. Who knows? Anyway, we do see Double Dealer near the shoreline. Looks like he's going to poke his head out briefly. Team 1 does have a welcoming wagon for him. That's not going to be enough to stop him, especially with assistance inbound from Drimmer to assist. Assistance to assist. That's a word there, I guess, or a phrase there. We have T2 PD being built in the south, but Gava Gava trying to establish a front line in the south. And yeah, they could try to establish it along the shoreline, but the problem is that Team 1 already has Navy, so getting a unit or a comm over there is just going to be met with either death or a lot of damage, so it's not really worth it. That T2 PD might be in range just barely, but not enough, and Team 1 should be easily able to put a destroyer or 2 in there, or even just cruisers. Just forget the destroyers, just go straight for cruisers and just shell that position for Gava Gava. So TMD has to be a focus for Team 2 on this on the side. Probably at least build it at a minimum along this line, if not even build a secondary line maybe back here, just to have a, you know, secure point. But we will see. We do have landfall in the northeast for Double Dealer. He's getting a land facility online. We'll see how long that lasts. Team 1 maybe is aware of it, maybe is not. They're aware of it, so no hiding that from Team 1 for now. We do see an engineer and a scout just having some discussions about color schemes, and it gets destroyed. Sorry, scout. Or sorry, not scout. Sorry, engineer. Again, it's the caster curse. I point something out. say, hey, hopefully that doesn't lose its shield. It blows up, and go, oh, that's it's a little awkward. So the more I say that, the more it happens. So I try not to do that as much. Sensor package being built for Gava Gava in the south that will give him a decent range of vision. And of course, I think it increases Omni a little bit, I think is what I saw, because this is what Drimmer has. I think it's about the same. It just increases the, of course, visual range, and that's about it. It kind of looks like maybe it increases it. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I should have been focused on that too much, because it maybe it actually does. Heck, it definitely looks like it does, because they're both Aeons, and that Omni range definitely did move out a little bit further away from the red one. So those look like, yeah, it definitely increases Omni. Not as far as vision, but it does boost it just a little smidgen. In the south, we have not destroyers again. Cruisers are coming online for Team 1's Boom King. Lovely play there. He's going to start shelling the southern environment for Team 2, and especially the Eco. Again, there's not a lot here, but there are technically 3 Trimax positions. One of them has not been claimed yet, or at least has been denied at some point. And then the other 2 still are underway. I would assume the T2 upgrade shortly. I would assume probably this one first and then that one after. We do see a large distribution of those mexes does go to Gava Gava, and he's sitting at 129. That definitely makes sense given the map control that looks like he has. Team 2 overall at 322, Team 1 at 330. And it's a huge back and forth between the 2 teams in terms of who's actually winning. It's very close. So realistically, Eco's the same. And call it a day. Because of the reclaim and PGens coming online or offline for power and all that stuff, so it's really hard to track very accurately. It's usually over, okay, at this time they're at 3:30. Next, 10 minutes they're now at 8:30 or something. Like it's better to see the trend versus just say this is exactly what they're producing at this moment. It does help, but trending is definitely a huge factor in this game. Because that's how kind of naval battles go, is you don't really see the initial effect of an advantage. It's usually a couple minutes later, or even like 10 minutes maybe later, that you really see the full effect of the naval advantage. Air and land, it's very quick. Experimentals and lots of T3 units, whatever the case may be. But Navy's a lot slower to materialize that gain. We do see now destroyers just wishing that they had legs, which they can sprout if he moves like 2 more inches forward. But we see an inbound of strikers and riptides. This base is probably not going to last much longer. We do see double dealer. He's going to get some nice veterancy from this. Probably get up to 1.5 stars, maybe 2, probably 2, given all the riptides in the mix. There's a large swath of Forcotia's Team 1 units moving into reinforce the position. He's not sending them in. He's just saying, okay, I'm going to have them here just in case it doesn't work out, which it's working, but it's not really working. A couple of Lobos do wipe out the remaining facilities, but Team 2 still holds the beachhead. We do see in the south, cruisers are stacking up quite nicely for Boom King, and yeah, it's not looking good for those Team 1 mexes, that's for sure down there. So not looking good for Team 2 in the south. Looking pretty good for Team 2 in the north, and then vice versa for Team 1. No real air online yet for Team 1 or Team 2. T3 land is online. T2 air, T2 land, and T3 land. So no real focus on air yet. It is 14 minutes, so it's roughly about the time in ladder matches where you would pretty much see either the T3 upgrade be started or roughly done. In the back line, that'd be a good position to put an air facility all the way back here, just out of harm's way of the everything of Navy, especially on that western side. Now, I guess you could put it over here, but if Team 1 were to dip their toes in the Navy, you don't want to lose it just in case. So further back, the better. And given the size of the map as it is, it's probably a good idea. T3 land online. T2 air is online for Drimmer. So we do have T2 air for both teams, but again, no T3 air yet. And I highly doubt that this match will go 30 minutes without T3. Like, that'd be a very long time. We do see a couple of units, looks like dropped off by Team 1's Forcotia, going after a couple of mexes. That T2 mex is gone. Will they get the last one? Oh, just 21 hit points remaining. But, again, 4 mexes dead. That's pretty good. That's 80%. That's a B. That's pretty good percentage on a test. Not the best, but it's definitely better than a C or otherwise. Granted, a C is technically 79%, but anyway. Depending if you use plus or minuses. We do see Boom King just patrolling the water for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe he's pacing. He's thinking about something. He's just really wearing the tread down on the bottom of those ACU feet, shoes, legs, whatever the heck is on the bottom of those things. We do see a ton of T2 units. Again, Hovertech, Asylums, Blazes, and the spotted Ascendant inbound. That Triumph Expedition is gone for Team 1. T2 PD not there in time, and everything from Focotia falls back. I don't blame him because he does not have the numbers or the tech to deal with that right now, at least in terms of land units. We do see, again, a couple more Riptides online for Abandoned, but he's going for T3, both mexes and units. He's going for Engineers now. I would assume the Titans will be deployed first, and then the Perseus after that. Transport, speaking of which, inbound for Drimmer, dropping off a couple of Harbingers. Team 1 spots it. We'll see if there's an Interceptor or... there's no Swift Winds. Interceptor or Janus or Janus? Janus? I always want to say both. Janus or Janus. I don't know. And then Nothos. But Transport does drop off the Harbingers. They go after a T2 mech. I don't really like the position. There's one T2 mechs there instead of, mechs back here. A ton of them. You have this grouping. There's T3 mechs being built over there now. Like, there's a lot more clumpage of mechs that Team 2 could have gone after. We do see the attack from Team 2's Gaba Gaba still pushing. And he's getting close to the northern edge of the map, missing these mechs. That's 6 mass a second, 8, 10 mass a second. And it looks like the remaining forces from Team 2 have now been dealt with. And PDs being built to protect the inbound. Actually, is those PDs or those... actually, those are artillery, not PD emplacements. So they're now shelling the front line. At least a little wall section that's there. 17 minutes on the clock. We do see a destroyer in the mix. Does look like it has taken some damage, but the cruisers have now denied the position of Gava Gava. He tried to get an artillery base online, but there's just so much more firepower that Team 1 has brought to bear. And look, the invasion has happened for Team 1 in the south. The Hovertech spam, which is not even using the water to traverse. They just skipped it and going straight for the land. They're just spamming them inbound. We do see some Harbingers. That is actually a really good unit to deal with Team 1 spam. Really, really good unit. You can reclaim with them. They're fast. They have shielding. So their damage to the hull plating is, of course, negated for at least a little bit of time. Granted, their hit point total is lower than other T3 units in terms of the mainline units. And I'm kind of surprised that the Aeon don't have another unit. You have the Titan and the Percy for the UEF. You have the Loyalist and the Brick. And then you have the Harbinger. And then you have the Otham. And like the Otham is pretty... I think it's pretty close to same amount of HP as the Brick, maybe? Speaking of which, there's an Otham little brigade on board that transport. Yeah, there's no other T3 unit in terms of like main battle unit for the Aeons or the Seraphim. But let me take a look at the the Seraphim in a second. And it's inbound. It's still there. We have some T2 gunships going to be brought to bear. They're sitting at 4,700. So without the shielding in consideration for the Harbinger, it's the lowest. And actually with the shielding, it's 100 hit points less. One of the Othams is already dead. T1 PD being spammed up. Actually, it's not dead. It's being diverted southward. The gunships being lured away by the T3 unit. The other two still pushing into the main base. We have Harbingers being built. That should be enough. T2 Pigeons are targeted. Gets reclaimed. Nice job there by Drimmer. One of those Othams are dead. The other one soon should be dealt with. It might get that. Maybe it won't. Engineers reclaim it. Prevent the volatile explosion. So technically 1,000 power per second has been denied for Team 2. But the the volatile explosion was denied, which might have even claimed that one. So nice job there by Team 2's quick reaction. But they are not looking good. We do see, again, the Harbingers are stacking up to deny entry for Team 1. But now we have just cruisers still spamming up. That's their effective range. Actually, is that the right player? No, that's not actually the right player. That's the right player. So I'd give a line roughly about, let's say this would be rough of their range. Again, a little bit depending on exactly where they are on the line, because this gives them a little bit more inroads. But besides that, that's essentially the line. Team 2 in the north, they've made landfall not only with land units but also with naval units that are really wanting to walk and stretch those legs that they've curled up underneath their destroyer beds. Destroyer beds? Destroyer holes. Maybe. Think of the bottom of the ship. There's probably a word for it. The hole is like usually just the ship or the outside of the ship. But I feel like there's a word for like specifically the bottom of the... Anyway, just distracted by naval nomenclature. Looks like the cruisers have transitioned southward, going after the Harbingers that are just trying to have a nice little stroll, not necessarily on the beach, but close to the beach. That one gets killed off by the massive amounts of missiles, and that's the problem with units walking in, not a line, but one after the other, is that the missile goes for where the target was, not necessarily is. And so if there's, one unit here, one unit here, one unit here, usually it'll hit the one in the back because it's walking where that one used to be. So there's that. And it's effective. You can see it's as long as you keep the units, either they're very, very quick or you spread them out enough where you don't have them walking in conga lines. You're not really going to worry about the cruiser missiles hitting you, or any missiles for that regard. But just in general, we do see T3 Omni is online for Gaba Gaba. He has T2 shield and sensor, so 21,000 hit points on board his comm. We definitely like to get some veterans sleep, but he's losing a lot of mexes now. He was producing the most max in the game, but now it's Drimmer at 332. He's fallen to last, and that's partly driven by the amount of mexes he's lost. And in the northeast, there goes the land incursion. Once again, Team 2 mounted a better defense, but we have Titans, we have tons of Riptides and everything else. That destroyer's not making it home. There's a couple of frigates inbound from the south. There's another destroyer inbound. And I feel like at this point, if Team 2 wants to push into land now, they need to either go for T3 tech for the extra range on the Galaxies, for example. They could go for nuke subs, or they could go for T4 Tempests from the Aeon players if they want to donate some engineers over, which might work. The only problem is again, they'd be limited to, again, this section of the map, which means their range is probably going to be essentially the same as the cruisers, which is about that. Oh, that did not mean to draw that line. So it's going to be effective if maybe wiping out the front line here and maybe everything maybe all the way back there, but the main bases will be more than adequate. And then I think the Tempest have a little bit longer range than the... Did I say Tempest? The missile ships. Shoot, what's their name now? I can't even remember the top of my head now. They're Torrents. The T's are throwing me off. The Torrent and the Tempest. So you got to consider that. It's like, is it worth the mass and energy cost or time cost? Is it? It could be. It could not be. It just depends on what our players value. At this stage, at 23 minutes on the clock, eco situation. Team 1 at 1,000, so they crossed the 4-digit mark. Team 2 still at 850. We'll give them, just to make the math easier, 150 mass in Team 1's favor. We have incursions now to Team 2's main landmass at 23 minutes on the northern side from Abandoned, sending in all his Titans and then all of his Riptides. We have some Loyalists moving in with their EMP weapons on board, slowing down a little bit of that aggression. Again, when they die, they emit an EMP AoE as well. We even see some Harbingers, Sniper Bots, and Blazes here for Team 2 Drummer as well. So they are fitting that number quite nicely, and now we have Titans versus Loyalists. And there was another cast, I think a week or so ago, where they engaged, and the EMP weapon just doesn't work. And I was found out by some very appreciative viewers when they commented the AoE weapon when they die works for the Loyalists, but the secondary weapon on board, the weapon system, doesn't work on T3 units. So that I didn't know, so I do appreciate that. I think I mentioned it in a cast a couple days ago. Again, I forget when the initial cast was when I made the comment, but at a bare minimum, T3 not as effective in terms of the main weapon, but the oh no, I have to go martyrdom weapon, the explosion at the end of their lives, that does EMP them. Not for very long, but it does EMP them nonetheless. The Cyberns and their EMPs, man. T3 being built on board Boom King's comm. He's, okay, no, he has T2 on board, going for chicken at 24 minutes. So he's going to get into the T4 experimental phase. We see his next door neighbor already in it for Frokotia, so he's just mirroring his teammate there. And again, Team 2 has access to the Colossi, the Monkey Lords, and the Megaliths. Team 1 have the chickens, the Yothothas, or the Fat Boy ice cream sandwiches. So they have it's the sandwiches versus I was gonna say the meat, but that doesn't work for Colossi. Creatures? No, because chickens. That doesn't work. Grouping of a monkey, a colossi, and a megalith, or a crab. So a monkey, a crab, and a very tall person with one eye. I wouldn't say mythical creatures, because that also doesn't work with the crabs and the monkeys. I'll think of something. Maybe not in this video. Somebody will probably come up with something. Who knows? Usually, everybody watching, you specifically, yes, I'm looking at you right now. You're probably smarter than me, so you can probably come up with something. And you have the ability to like pause and go look at something and then come back and then rewind the video and then go like, okay, I'm going to comment at this point in time. You can put a little like time code in the comment as well. Does help out when you're making comments about stuff where you're like, this is exactly what I'm referencing. Click. And then I can go, oh, yeah, that's right. You were talking about this. Yeah. So sometimes I get comments and I'm like, I think I know what he's referencing. But again, sometimes I like cast the video and then I forget right after the video. My brain just dumps everything I said because I'm talking a mile a minute. And my tongue doesn't work half the time. So I have to like, fumble over my words. So, again, I forget things. So, apologies for a little bit of ranting, distraction, nonsense. Let's go back into the game. We do see in the north a couple of destroyers, again, sprouting their legs once again, going after this little grouping of mexes. That Trimex position is gone. That one was almost upgraded to T3. That's unfortunate. Up Mex says Boom King, talking about Abandon just upgrading those mexes. We do see more Harbingers dropped off by Team 2, and that's going to really get a lot of eco dev for Abandon. Again, that's a better droppage than it was over here. So lovely placement there. Granted, now it's just a Percy spam facility. I do love the shield in the middle. Definitely need shields here, 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 and here at least. But at least there's a central shield for just, random shots or one bomber or something. So I do love that. So good job there from Abandon getting his shield online. It's not online now. It soon will be, but it's not online right now. That should be one of the first things you build. Again, that's my focus on shielding. We do see the Calm getting into it with a couple of Harbingers. He's like, hey, I'm doing stuff over here. Go away. Another set of mexes is being eliminated. We have 5, 6 dead here, 7, 8, 9, 10 probably. We have transport inbound from Frokotia to drop off some Authams. Right in the middle of that, we have T1 PD being built by that engineer, hero engineer, and the Authams will probably divvy up. Maybe, maybe not. This one's going to break away. We have some Titans inbound. Those might catch up. I don't know if their movements are faster than the Harbinger or not. I know the Harbinger is the fastest mainline T3 unit in the game versus, Percy's, Bricks, and Authams. But it just depends on whatever else is chasing them. I think the Titan might be faster, but barely, maybe. Don't probably quote me, if I'm wrong. And if I am, please correct me, because I actually do appreciate being corrected, because like, you are wrong, you were telling wrong thing, this is the correct thing. Okay, I tell correct thing now, and then I move on. I don't take it as a slight or anything. It's just you just didn't know, or you were wrong, and I want to make sure to correct you so I don't lead everybody else into false information and whatnot. So I appreciate it. T2 Air online in the background, upgrading to T3, 28 minutes. Team 2 T3 Air is online. Team 1 T3 Air is online, but not much of it. Looks like it's mainly focused on P-Gens. And he just built up the air facility just to have one. There's really, again, not really a lot of focus on air for Team 1. Team 2 could try to capitalize and go strats. They could go donut. Maybe not donut this early. I mean, I don't know. It's just, as much as I like the air experimentals, except the bug, I'm not a huge fan of them. You really need at least 2 or 3 of them. I'd say definitely the bombers at least 2. So you get the initial hit and then the secondary hit to really wipe everything out underneath maybe a shield emplacement. The donuts, it's just nice to have 2 or 3 of them because they have those long-range missiles and they just start ripping apart all spy planes, air scouts, weaker air units. And it's just a slow kind of demolish the demolition of Team 1's, in this example, Air Force. We do see 4 Yothothas stacked up. This one definitely will be transferred over to Frokotia and Micro. We have 2 GCs. Numbers not going good for Team 2. It's 1.4 to 1.2, so the eco situation isn't terrible, But we have still missiles raining in constantly. This is how far back they are now. There is a line of PD down here, more of them being built all the time. Maybe we'll see some artillery as well. I feel like a couple of chickens could actually break off and go this way maybe. You could maybe keep 2 here for, 1v1 fights or 2v2 fights with the GCs. And either that forces the GCs to go this way or it forces 1 to break off. So then it's a 2v1 versus a 2v1. And the numbers in that regard are definitely better for Team 1. So we will see what they end up doing. If oh, maybe that's exactly what's happening. Yeah, he's moving south and doing... Wow, look at that. He's doing exactly what I just said. Did I just manifest that or something? Maybe he mirrored me through the ether. Or maybe he has a third Ythotha inbound to reinforce this position, and that will favor the numbers. But in the north, a massive land army inbound from Abandoned. This is going to focus most of Team 2's attention this way. And look at that. A lot of forces from Drimmer pull away. And that might be the moment to send this force directly down the middle and have an engagement on 2 fronts. Actually, 3 fronts if you count that one. That would be great for Team 1 breaking through Team 2's defenses. Titans pushing in. There's a little bit of crowding at the doorway for Team 1's Abandoned. We have Harbingers and Bricks and Loyalists still here. And not looking too hot, at least for the front line Percies. We have more Authams moving in for the northeast using the water. So that way they can obfuscate their, at least, opponent's mainline weapons from shooting at them. There's still torpedoes on board most Cybermen vessels. And look at that. A Tempest is online. Hey, is there a GC? Nope. That actually might be a good idea. Send a GC onto the water and just go west. That would do a lot to drive this back on the northern side. Couple of Ythothas inbound. Gava Gava's here. T3 engineering speed. No gun. It's just sensor package and shield. It's the regular shield as well. And those GCs, looks like one's moving north. Perfect time for the remainder of Foucault's forces to push in. And those Ythothas, that's not looking good for Team 2's Gava Gava. He's got to fall back immediately. There's a couple of Optims shooting at them. His shield is gone, and I feel like that might be the end of Gava Gava. There goes that slow-moving ball, and there it is! Killed off by the slow-moving ball of the Ythotha. First kill for Team 1, drops it to a 3v2. Everything will be transferred over to Drimmer, and he'll probably keep it because he's, closer to it than his teammate of Double Dealer is. Double Dealer is still pumping out a lot of Cybermen naval forces to the north. Still no attack inbound from Foucault. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. You attack this vector at the same, not the same time, but a little bit later than you attack this vector, and then it forces the attention to go here and here, and it leaves this attack to still go on. And there's T1 bombers still raining in shots. What they could do is essentially just full send it to the back right here, and then leave that main force to just full send it to the air grid that's right here. So there's a lot of potential. It looks like the chickens are actually going to break off. One goes northeast for this group of mexes, and that one goes that way. That's also a lovely attempt that at least forces more destruction in a wider area and may prevent more engineers from getting there sooner to rebuild. Again, if you have one section of the map blown up by whatever, engineers from all sides can come in, but if you kind of widen that a little bit, it takes a long... that's the wrong button. It takes wider to get there. Or longer to get there, not wider. We have galaxies in the pond to the north. We have Ythotha pushing in again northeast. The chicken kind of going east more than southeast, but looks like he got new orders to go... I don't know what he's doing. He's trying to dodge. Does Foucault really have the APM to just micro him constantly just twitching back and forth a little bit to try to dodge some shots? I don't know if that's worth it. It does slow it down a little bit. Ythotha to the northeast wipes out that. It's completely ignored for the most part, except for the PD that were already there. So nice grab by Team 1 there. We have, again, 4 Ythothas. It looks like he just wants to do overwhelming odds. And that does work. Team 2 has time to build up. There's a GC moving in to intercept the Ythotha. That Ythotha has done its job. It could continue northward and maybe go after the comms to the northeast, but at a bare minimum, it's taking out a chunk of Team 2's eco, drops him below 4 digits, below 1,000 mass per second. Now Team 1 is doubling Team 2's eco roughly. Don't know the exact numbers, but it's pretty much a doubling. Oh, it is definitely a doubling. And Ythotha now goes northwest. GC still chasing it down. And the air grid, that's not going to look good. Southeastern corner, this is pretty much gone. That's unfortunate. So that was the backup facility. This is the main one, and there goes all of the everything. There goes the central PGen. There goes another little bit of one right there. Not overcharge. It does reclaim this one, doesn't reclaim the other ones. Chicken does no. It does grab the T3 air headquarters. And the attack is just waiting for it, waiting for the engagement. Come on, you got to do it at some point. Come on. 34 minutes on the clock. Team 1 at 3 players left. Team 2 at 2. Team 1's eco heavily in the lead, more than double of Team 2's. Map control does favor Team 1. It's not entirely under Team 1's control in the northeast, but for the most part, that's a little concerning. So we'll see if Team 2 does anything with the Plan B to the north. They'll look nice little nuke sub up there. But let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win at this game at 34 minutes. Of course, if you haven't done so already, because why not at this point, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Again, thank you so much for watching till at least the midpoint, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of it. Nuke is inbound from somebody. It's inbound from Team 1. There's a second nuke I don't know about. Oh, it is. What the? That seemed. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, it's right here. Oh, that's the second nuke online for Team 1. Okay, I was like, it's not from that one. Oh, that's well, that's one way to get rid of a front line. Kaboom! They wanted the GCs, but the GCs moved northeast. Oof, that is not looking good. We have that land army up here. We have a huge land army down here. Comms pointed out by Boom King. They know where both of them are currently, at least roughly where they are. We have, again, that land invasion to the south is doing some work. It is moving decent resistance down here, but at a bare minimum, again, another distraction. You have attacks. So that's 3 points of entry for Team 1. Team 2 has to deal with all of those. And that south one's going to crash. That middle one is definitely going to crash. And actually, all of these forces from Abandon, I was going to say, are going south to not rejoin, but regroup or whatever with this group. But no, they're going to full send it east and go for this position for both the remaining players. And there's really not a lot. There's a couple of shots inbound from the Tempest to the north, which will help out a little bit. And there's a lot of Percy's, though. That GC's not going to look good. And here come the GC's verse is the chickens. And the chickens will have a conversation about why they don't like one-eyed eyeglasses or whatever. And Team 2's opinion is that chicken sandwiches are not as good as maybe burgers or other forms of sandwiches, whether it's turkey or I don't know, whatever else, ham. That Euthotha's down. There's 3 Euthotha's. There's 1 GC. There's a 4th Euthotha. So Team 2 does get the defense. So they get a lot of reclaim. But again, there's still a lot of T3 and the everything else online. And Team 1's already getting the engineering crews online to reclaim. Currently on the map sits 237,000 mass. And it is, I'd say, 90+% of it on Team 2's side of the map. And that side of the map is dwindling in terms of percentage. Again, it always starts out even, and it usually hovers around 50% for a little bit of time, and then something happens and things happen, and that percentage either goes up or goes down. SMD does not exist, or if there was one, it was killed off by the Euthotha. Second nuke also inbound. This time it's from the northeast. There's the Plan B, and the range on board that thing, it's not great, but it can hit this base up here. So at a bare minimum, there is that. And it's inbound. Does Team 1 have an SMD? I don't see one. Nuke down here. It's going to land. Oh, no, it goes short. It goes for this base. That's a little missed opportunity. I'd say kaboom, but it does wipe out a ton of mass. Here comes this nuke. Was it? Oh, it was shot down. There was an SMD there. So that nuke lands. Kaboom. Another nuke inbound from Team 1. This time it's from this nuke launcher. 35,000 mass killed. This one probably killed off like 50-something. 90,000. Oof. That's a lot of mass. Look at that. All of those, mass fabs are gone. Needed an SMD, but a little too late on that. It probably could have gone deeper, maybe for the air grid. Maybe it could reach that. Nuke is about to land, and it can't prevent the second nuke from landing. Kaboom! That section of map is gone. 38 minutes on the clock, and Team 2's main bases are whittled down to 1. There's a crab online, but that's not going to be enough. Even the GCs can push back. There's another attack that happened a little bit earlier ago. The remaining Euthotha's are down, but at a bare minimum, it's just not looking good. All Team 1 has to do is just say, okay, the Navy's annoying. Yeah, we don't want to deal with that, but we own the West. We'll hang out here. We'll build another nuke or a YOLO or whatever they want to build, artillery piece, and just shoot, and that's about it. They don't really worry about anything else. Team 1 has to be the one to provocate, because the eco, even though that Team 2 doesn't know what Team 1 is producing and vice versa, they can just tell by the map. Well, there's a lot of mixes over here that are still online. We don't have a lot of mixes down over here. We're definitely losing. There is that a couple of Percys on the short line. I think they actually wipe out a nice little a galaxy. There are probably some shots from other forces, either the ones that were running by. We have more Percys to the north. We have, looks like some destroyers came to set high that was denied by Team 1. We have bombers inbound. Actually, they're going to go for the Tempest, it looks like. They're going to wipe out a chunk of hit points, drop them maybe into the yellows. Yep, I'm going to drop them into the yellows, but nothing, again, terrible for Team 1 to deal with. The range on those things, again, it's not the best. Essentially, yeah, it's about the line in between those two sets of mountains. There's a couple of missile launchers on board the Plan B, so they're firing off. Their range is pretty far as well. That's the range they cannot hit this base. If they move right here, right where that little icon I have is, that probably would be enough to hit the T3 land headquarters right there. And it would hit the... No, look at the ACUs, look at the filters, look at the power. The nuke is not shielded. Didn't notice that. Shield your nukes, please, everybody. Shield your nukes. We have both the comms on the western side, southwestern side for Team 1 going into the water, it looks like. Abandon is actually falling back to this air grid. SMD now being built and loaded for Team 1. We have Bomber over the top striking the shield base, and an emissary being built on the shoreline. That's, I think, a first. At least being that close. Bomber going to drop another payload. I think that's number 2 so far. Shields are not going to hold. And there goes all of those mexes and all of those engineers as well. Actually, none of the mexes are dead, just the engineers. That's unfortunate. And it looks like the AWSA has spotted the emissary shields being built, AA being built. There is double shielding. That one does come offline. This one is still online, so it should be enough to crack. Maybe. It's, you know, hit points are still in the mid-yellow, so it's still fine. Another nuke outbound from Team 1. There's another bomb drop. That's number 2. Shielding back online almost. This one's still online, just barely. AA being spammed up as quickly as possible, and it's doing a great job of dealing with the AWSA, and that might be enough. There it is. It actually kills it off before it takes out the shielding. So lovely defensive play by Drimmer. Here comes the nuke from Team 1. Kaboom! Wipes out a GC that was being built, and it does get the crash damage. Look at that. Oh, it's in the land. Didn't know that it actually did the animation, even though it was not even built yet. Huh. That's interesting. We have another... Oh... Ooh, that's a nice little target right there. Yep, and Fokotia sees it. And another nuke inbound. They're going to bomb the reclaim. I actually don't even see that giant massive reclaim we saw earlier that I took, I think, a screenshot for the... I did take a screenshot for the thumbnail. I was like, wait, did I? I was like, yeah, I did. Kind of can forget sometimes. I'm like, oh, that'd be good, and then take a picture of it. We have Megalith inbound, but it's getting bombed by a lot of Team 1 bombers. AA coverage isn't great. Tons of Plan B stacking up. I feel like Team 2 has a little bit more than just one Plan B planned. I feel like they have Plan F and Plan G and Plan J and Plan Z and everything else. Maybe I'll try to find a mod for the air experimentals, but there's only 3 of them. Technically 4 if you count the Novax, and that one actually has a different icon, to be fair, so maybe not. I mean, you can mostly tell by the speed. The bug, I think, is the no, I think the Tsar is the slowest, and then it's the bug, and then it's the bomber. Yeah, I think I'm correct on that. And there's only 2 naval units that are 2 experimental naval units, the Tempest and the Atlantis. So, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe Caliber, whoever makes the Calibers mod will make something, and then I'll install it. I like the Calibers mod. They're all individual. You know, you get the radar, you get the mass extractor, you get them all. So you'd be like, I just want these, I don't want all of them, and I do like that, being able to just pick and choose. So, again, can't recommend them anymore. I cannot recommend them. Not anymore. More? I don't even know what the quote would be. I cannot recommend them enough. Ah, there it is. My brain is a little bit fried today. I was out in the sun today doing some work, so I was kind of baking. So, kind of... I'm cooked. My brain is cooked. Oh, that's... So we have 2 bombers. We have a squadron or so, maybe even 2 squadrons of strat bombers. We have 2 nukes, a bunch of stuff on the land, and Team 2 has Plan Bs and Tempests. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Oh, and those are going to land somewhat close to those naval units, though at least the nuke subs, and they don't actually hit it, but they take out an aircraft carrier and almost take out a second one. The AA on board those things are no joke, but land situation not looking good. 43-43 on the clock, and all of Team 2's forces aren't even going east anymore. They're going northeast. That's not a good sign because they're just going to full send it into those 2-ish bases. Again, keep clicking the wrong button first. I need to click Alt and then right click, not right click. But we have 2 bombers, 2 big ones, being shouted by about 2 squadrons of strats. And it's exact. Hey, look at that. 2 exact squadrons. Gotta love it. Look at the numbers. They make sense. We have Team T3. Something is chasing. GCs. We have T1 Zooies chasing GCs. The imagery. It reminds me of that animation that somebody did. I forget who exactly it was, but it's like the hunter and the mech marine are talking to one another, and then the flare comes up, and it's like Bigger Brother shows up later, and it's the Colossus, and they just go, ah. I forget who made that, but it's from a long time ago. Maybe it's from the FAF devs, maybe? I don't know. I feel like that was promotional material for the game or something. Again, long time ago. I just cannot remember who made it. Could have been. But 2 Ethiothers are dealt with. The nuke will not be shot down. And the artillery is finished. T3 artillery is done for Team 2. 2 nukes are inbound. And that's not going to be good. Oh, that's a Awasa bomb. Look, that's not a nuke. It doesn't look as big. And there's a nuke inbound. This base is gone. So Team 2's double dealer doesn't have much remaining to his name. Kaboom! And there's one down here going to go for that set of mexes and maybe trying to catch the GCs, but kaboom! It's almost like I'm sneezing at this point when I do that kind of chew. And that, I mean, Team 2 has held this for the entire game, so props to them for doing that, but that's going to be a watery grave for Team 2 shortly. Both the comms for Team 2 do retreat into the water. That's a smart play. And double dealer, do you have any of them loaded? One is loaded. Another nuke inbound. No, second one is loaded. None of them else are loaded. There's the 2 nukes. Speaking of which, inbound. This one's going to be shot down, and this one might not be. That's a little unfortunate. Ooh, it might actually be shot down. Ooh, that's going to be close. You have to remember that the nuke arcs a little bit, so it'll go down like that, so it might catch. Here comes the nuke. And it's hit by the SMD missile, so it just barely comes into range. It's got to hurt. And that second one obviously didn't land because there was SMDs there for a while. We have bombers landing on top of the Ethotha wreck. That's never fun. Looks like I was probably going after that GC or something that was over there. T1 bombers just ripping that thing to shreds. We have T3 strat bombers inbound. There goes the artillery piece. There goes that. That is Team 2's last major long-range item. They still have the Plan Bs. There's still that at their disposal. They need to spam that. The unfortunate thing is Team 2 is now at 100 mass a second, and Team 1's at 2.1k, so it's going to take a while to do that. And I don't think Team 2 has the time. 46 minutes on the clock. It's going to go after another PGen, another T3 mechs. And there goes that. That's more mass down the drain for Team 2. They just cannot seem to have much in range of whatever else. They just can't seem to keep above 1,000. Granted, all of the everything is blown up, so there's that. We have missiles inbound, but that's not going to be enough. Lines of TMD have been built. We have T1 bombers constantly being thrown by Abandoned. He's just abandoning them to just throw damage somewhat that direction. There's a lot of AA here from those aircraft carriers, and there goes the bomber. It's done its job, though. It's wreaked havoc for Team 2. And the ground forces are going to just mop everything else up. We have T3 air facility here. We have T3 land facility. Sorry, T3 land, T3 Navy facility. We have double dealer in the northeastern corner of the map, and then Drimmer over there. Fat Boy done, Fat Boy done. They're pushing into this position. We have Ethotha coming to say hi, and that Ethotha, it could do one of two things. It could just sit there on the shoreline and shoot at the everything, or what you could also do, is which looks like is what he's doing, you could send it in the water, it dies, and then its ion storm plops up to the surface, and it just lasers everything to death that way. So, oh, how did I do that? It said cancel the brush stroke. How did I do that? did that. I don't know how I did that. Usually I have to press Alt and right click, but somehow I canceled it. I don't know how I did that. Maybe if I let go, then that's not it. Huh. But there goes the Ion Storm. It activates. There's another Ethotha coming in from the south. And then there goes the Ion Storm. It plops up and says hi. They have awoken a sleeping giant, I guess. There goes a destroyer now. The fleet will move out of range, to be fair. But at a bare minimum, it does do damage to at least this aircraft carrier. So that's another dead naval unit. A couple of frigates are going down. It might hit the Tempest. Looks like it singed it just oh, it's getting a little bit. And the Ion Storm should be pretty much dead. I kind of wish there was a timer or something on this thing where it showed you how long, or maybe the hit points slowly drain, so it's essentially it's its own timer. It's, you know, loses 1 HP every second or something, and it lasts for 100 seconds or close to 2 minutes. Or, you know, I mean, not 2 minutes, but you get my point. Like, there's some sort of visible timer that you can look at and be like, oh, I see it only has like 20 seconds or 30 seconds left. But that is game for Team 1. 49 minutes on the clock. Their main base was sieged all the way to essentially about here. Nuke was able to land and take out that section, but only one. And artillery is launching. I kind of thought it was going to be a game ender, but no, unfortunate. But, you know, not every game has to have one. I love to see them, and the more the merrier, but you don't have to be there. And I love it how artillery is shooting at units that move. Gotta love it. It's funny. I think it's kind of a meme at this point. Not a meme, but it is a legitimate strategy with the Scathis. Large groups of T3 units being just pepper sprayed essentially by a watering can by the Scathis. Can do a lot of damage. Not experimentals, but you know, Percy's and like the actual T3 units. That sort of thing. Com says Boom King. Oh, they're talking about the unit. Yep, up there in the northeast. They see that. Could have nuke subs, says somebody on Team 1. They do have nuke subs, but I don't think they're going to have nuke subs for now. 50 minutes on the clock. And credit to both of these players for Team 2. Most players, I think, would have just quit by now, but they haven't, so I love that. But again, look at the disparity. Not even triple digits in eco. Team 1's at 2,000. They're producing 10 times would be 500, and then 100 times would be 5,000. So half of that would be 250 would be, well, 250. So about 200 times, maybe. And double it. Yeah, that's 200 times sounds about right. Another Nuke inbound teleporter started for Kotia for whatever reason. He just wants to build it to spend mass, I guess. There goes the last Tempest from the Fat Boys. Torque bombers inbound from Team 1, and they're going to destroy that comm. There's no hope of getting him out of there. There goes the Nuke. Kaboom! Wipes out a chunk of the naval forces. There goes Double Dealer, leaving just Drimmer remaining for Team 2. And will he teleport now that his teammate is dead, or will he just suffer the long, slow death of drowning or bombers or whatever? And artillery is not going to hit him. He's too far deep. You know, obviously hover can't touch him because he's in the water and not above it. Fat Boys can touch him with torpedoes. Don't really see that every day. But they do have torpedoes on board. And I'm not defeated yet, says Boom King. You're fine over there. Just a little bit of taunting going down by Team 1. And we have, I would never have called this in a million years, but Fat Boy sandwiches being defeated by Plan Bs, but also defeating said Plan Bs. So, nah, don't see that every day. Oh, there's a little bit of friendly fire going down there from Team 1. Still, Drimmer is still alive. I'll speed it up to +3. That's probably as fast as I'll go. There goes the last Plan B. It's going to take a second. Fat Boy still have the shielding. Looks like they're trying to ground fire the thing. There it goes. It's finally dead. And Drimmer, I think it's him and a T3 mechs, I believe. Or maybe a couple more of them, actually. Torp bombers inbound. There he goes. Team 2's last comm is defeated. And yeah, it looks like it was the comm and a T3 mechs. And that was it. So that was an annihilation for Team 1. 54 minutes, 43 seconds on the clock. MVP for me, I mean, everybody did a good job in the every department. I mean, we have a bandit on the east side dealing with the naval forces and then attacking with land units. We have Forkotia and, of course, Boom Kim going for nukes. So there's that for going for the naming scheme there. He also went for cruisers going on the shoreline. Great way to establish a beachhead. Made a little bit of convicom action, but again, 3v3 is kind of a little bit, especially with this map structure, not really going to lend itself to much of that. And we had Foucaultier just spamming up the Athotha, so combining the naval, suppression, naval supremacy in the south with the land units, and they just went boop, 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 and called it a day there. So that is the game here, folks. So I think MVP, I don't know who I want to give it to, because again, I want to give it to maybe one of these Southern players, but I will give the MUP Award, the most underrated player of the game award, to, oh, he did build one. Because why not? It doesn't matter, because I don't even think it was even fired. Yeah, it wasn't even fired. So it was built, so there's that, but yeah, definitely give it to Abandon. Yeah, definitely needed another SMD, needed to build his own SMD, especially after the first nuke that came in. But I think besides that, he did a very good job of dealing with the Navy from Team 2. So there's that. And let me know down in the comments who you pick for MVP for Team 1. Thank you so much for watching to the very end of the video as always, and I will see all of you in the next one.